Hello fans, Steve here to once again review a game. Today I'll be talking about Magic the Gathering: Duels of the Planeswalkers for the Xbox Live Arcade. As the title notes, this game is based on the popular trading card game of the same name. This game actually comes on the heels of about a dozen other games based on it, most of which came out in the mid-90s, so I'm gonna guess they look something like Math Blaster? Yep, that's about right. Now before I go any further, I need to mention that I've actually been playing the trading card game for a couple of years now, and will be using some of the terminology from the game. If you're not familiar with the game, you'll get the gist of what I'm saying, but if you are, you'll understand a lot more. As you'd expect, the game plays exactly like the card game does. You've got your main phases, combat phases, the stack, etc. The game's engine does a brilliant job of implementing these and other rules, and actually includes all of the Magic 2010 rule changes that were just recently announced. The game, being suited for newcomers, does a really good job of letting you know what's going on at any given moment. At all times, there's a slider up top to let you know what phase you're in, the table shifts to red during combat, and there are even arrows that point to the target of any spell or creature. It's all really helpful even for an experienced player. The only thing concerning the interface that really bugged me was the timer. Circling each player's life total is a 3-second timer that goes off between every phase and action to give any player an opportunity to react. It's nice at first because as you're getting used to the game's controls, you may want a second to get situated, but once you figure the game out, the first few turns of any match are just slow as crap. 3 seconds doesn't seem like a long time, but take this turn, it should just be land down, playing Raging Goblins, and swinging for one. It takes over 30 seconds. Come on, I've got 1 mana down. I'm not gonna Giant Growth it, I promise. The difficulty curve in this game is something they got spot on. The difficulty they start you on is that perfect balance of not frustrating and not super easy. And if you're looking for something a little harder, you can turn it to the Planeswalker difficulty and see what the computer is capable of. It's not impossible, but it's a nice challenge and a lot of fun if you're an experienced player. I was really surprised to see how capable the AI in this game was. They know that they can completely swing out with their flyers if they have a Holy Day in hand, or if you're Jace and you have a few mana open, they'll be more reluctant to play a bomb. Something that was nice to see too is that the AI is human enough to mana Screw or Flood from time to time. Luckily though, they're artificial enough not to rage quit when this happens. Now the game starts you off with 2 decks, Garruk and Chandra. As you play through the campaign mode, you unlock more decks, and when you win a match in any mode, you'll win extra cards for the deck that you were playing. Where the system goes awry is in the deck editor. While the unlocked cards are great to add to your deck, there's no way to remove cards from your original deck, so you have to add them on top, which in turn adds more lands. While it's nice to have the better cards, in an 80-card deck you'll more likely run into another Goblin Sky Raider before the Shivan Dragon you put in there. It would have been nice to see a full deck editor in here, even with boundaries. Perhaps we'll see something like it in the DLC. Real quick though, I've got to mention, this game looks terrific. Spell effects, the battle animations, even the playmats. Everything moves so nice and fluidly, even losing your grizzly bears to a shock looks nice. I can honestly say it looks significantly better than anything we've seen from Magic to date. Well, that's not fair. I've not really seen Magic Battlegrounds. Let's bring that up. Well that's worse. The excellence of the visuals, however, is only matched by the mediocrity of the soundtrack. It's like 4 tracks long and they all sound like they came from an elevator in Middle-earth. It's like fantasy-ish, but really droll and repetitive and boring. I suggest doing what I did and just turn it off. While we're here though, I can talk about all of the customization. It actually allows you to do a lot here. You can change your playmat if you've unlocked any, you can change your avatar to any one of several card characters. I chose Kamal Pitfighter because I think it looks pretty cool. You can even toggle things to speed up gameplay like, say, turning off combat animations. Don't get me wrong, they're cool at first, but after 3 or 4 times the novelty wears off and they just become like a speed bump. After you finish up the campaign, the game still offers plenty for you to do in the way of alternate modes of play. For instance, there's a challenge mode where the game will present you with a preset scenario where you've got to try and win on that turn with only the cards and creatures laying out for you. It was really cool to see them put a puzzle mode in the game, as from time to time you might want to take a breather from the usual duel modes. Another mode of play, for those of us with friends in town who play Magic, is the co-op campaign. This functions just like the single-player campaign, but the format is Two-Headed Giant. It's really fun to play, with the only drawback being that you don't unlock decks as you play, only cards. So I would recommend that you unlock some decks before running through it. This actually leads nicely into my next point concerning online play. The game offers a lot in the way of online multiplayer. There are 2, 3, and 4 player modes, all of which function very smoothly online. What really impressed me though about the online play was simply the community. You've got to think, at least 90% of the people playing this game are longtime players of the card game. It was really cool to jump into a 3-player game and just talk about stuff, like when we first got into Magic, deck builds we're trying out, all the while playing a nice casual game. It's really a nice departure from, say, Halo 3, where the discussions are generally me getting called an asshat by an 11-year-old. Another neat feature that I really liked was the mentoring mode. This is basically a place where newcomers can go and find people to teach them how to play Magic. The games in this mode play exactly like the regular game, but at any time the mentoring player can look at the other player's screen with a controllable cursor and guide them through the turn. Now the game already has an excellent tutorial available, but it's nice to be able to teach a friend how to play how your friends taught you how to play. What this game offers in the end is superb gameplay, access to a large community of Magic players, and a great way to teach your friends how to play, all for about $10. What's that, like 2.5 boosters? The only thing I'd like to see hopefully changed in the next update, other than new cards of course, is a full deck editor. If Wizards would just loosen the grip they have with Magic Online, this game could attract an exponentially wider audience.